I'm Jessica M. Harris, and God moved me across the country by faith. I'm starting over in a brand new place, and let me tell you, it's been a bit different. Here is what's taking place in my life now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hey, what's going on? We are still talking. Jessica is making carrot patties, veggie patties made of carrots and oatmeal. Yes. So, anyways, what I am gonna say though, because my patties are almost done, I'm super excited. Though. These patties look amazing. Oop, that was not supposed to happen at all. No, that's my cabbage. But anyways, one of the biggest things I feel like that I had to face from moving here or moving like back to Texas as a whole has been not falling into old habits and doing old stuff. And when I say that, meaning like God brought me into my new, right? Like this is my new place, my new space. This is a new journey. This is a new season. So I don't need to go back into doing old habits, right? Meaning like if someone does something, I don't need to go immediately to 10, but I can respond from a different place. And I know that sounds really simple, but there's been a lot of different things that have popped up since I've been here that have been like, God, what is happening, right? And I've had to pause and I've had to really like, okay, Jessica, we're not about to go off on nobody's head today. We're not about to, act out a character because God has made me into a new creation. And I want to really honor that part and not get lost in the sauce because I'm annoyed at X, Y, and Z that's currently taking place. And I feel like that's something, not a struggle, but it definitely has been an area that has been like, it's tried to come up a few times, especially with like how I had like the text message conversation that came up recently and just other stuff. Because I don't just have the text message stuff, like that's not just the only thing that we're dealing with here. Like I have that going on, and then I also have the fact like that we're also either looking for work or we're looking for the businesses to begin to really like take off because we need income. And that's because when I first got here, I wasn't able to come here with the job that I already had. And there was pieces and I had to move fast. So I wasn't able to like move here with just, like I moved, yeah, we moved fast because I found the place and then I had to get down here within, I think, like a couple of weeks. Yeah, because I remember asking God if I could stay longer and I couldn't. I couldn't stay longer. I had to leave when I left. Like I needed to leave. I couldn't stay. God literally wouldn't allow me to stay because I remember asking that and he told me no. Mm-mm. So out of obedience, I left with just a few weeks of me finding the place and then having to leave a job and then not having another job. And I had to do that in faith, believing that however this was going to work, God was going to make a way. And that's what I did. I just left. Trust me, I didn't have like what's it called? Like reservations at first. I'm about to see if my oil is hot enough. I was nervous though when I first did that because I was looking like God, we got to make sure that we have income. And I remember just feeling like to trust me. Like that was the part that I remember feeling when I first got here. With God was just trust him. Just trust me. And I remember looking back at God like, God, like you gonna bring me all the way across the country. I'm trying to trust you with all I can. And I didn't want to go back into old habits. I didn't want to go back into a period of like toiling. I didn't want to go into a period of like feeling like everything wasn't working. I didn't want to go into a period of feeling like things weren't going the ways in which I wanted them to be. I didn't want to go back to that. Mm-mm. Because I wanted to embrace the new. I wanted to embrace the season that I was in this time and really believing, right, that this season was different, that this season wasn't like the other seasons, that this season was going to carry off in a different way. That's what I want. That's what I came in believing. And that was tested. It was tested a lot when the month of December came kind of to a close. And I was looking like, okay, God, so where's the provision, God? Where's the pieces, God? Right? Because I didn't get a job. I had applied to a bunch of different places, but I did not get the job. And I remember I had started up a few projects, but it wasn't quite like it. And I remember just being like, okay, God, I'm trusting you, I'm trusting you, I'm trusting you, I'm trusting you. And I remember in prayer, what was coming up to me was unbelief. And I remember looking at God like, huh? Because I didn't understand. Because it was like a word that I could see. It was like unbelief. And I'm like, what do you mean unbelief? I'm like, why this word keep coming up like unbelief? And I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all because it was like, why is this word coming up? And at first, I wouldn't even say the word because I was like, I'm not claiming that. Like, I don't know what that is. And then this, January came, and it felt like as soon as the month started, it felt like everything. This bill, this bill, this bill, this bill, this bill, this message, this message, this message, this message. And I was looking like, yo, God, what is happening here, right? And it felt like it felt like I had went back into like a cycle. And I don't claim that. I don't claim that by a long shot. Like, nope. We don't claim going back into no cycles and repeating nothing that the Lord didn't tell us to go back to. Nope. But that's why I was looking like, huh? And I remember getting frustrated, like really frustrated, because I don't know, everything just started to like hammer down on me a lot. And I wasn't sleeping a bunch, not because I couldn't sleep, but because I just felt like I just needed to work as much as I can so something could pop off. So I was like staying up into the midnight hours trying to work on this, and I was working on this, and I was making blogs and stuff and writing stuff till like 2, 3 in the morning. And I was doing that like repeatedly. And I didn't realize I was bringing myself into an old habit, Like that stuff that I used to do, like, whew, at the beginning. And I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I thought in my mind, I was like, maybe, yeah, I thought that I was behind. And I was like, maybe this was God's opportunity of allowing me to catch up. So I took catching up, meaning that I needed to just go full throttle into everything. And that's what I did. I went full throttle, like all gas, no brakes. And the downside of me doing it that way was me becoming so emotionally, spiritually, and mentally just like drained. Because it was like as fast as I would fill up, that was as fast as I was pouring out, not allowing myself a chance to rest. And I needed to rest pretty much in every single area. I wasn't resting. Like I was like resting in God I was trying to rest in him the way that I thought I needed to, but I was needing some physical rest. I was needing to rest my mind, honestly. And because of like those pieces coming up, and then we had, not we, but then, well, yeah, it was we, because then we had court come up as well in January. Yes, we're back in court. Um, and it just felt like more extra. And at this point, not only was it like the court stuff coming up, but I hadn't been able to talk to my kids since like the middle of December. So between the middle of December into January, I couldn't talk to them. Their dad had blocked me from talking to my kids. And it was just hurting me at my core. And this isn't the first time that he's blocked me, but this time it hurt. I don't know. That's the part where I said that because I was so going, and I hadn't like given myself a chance to rest, things that probably shouldn't have impacted me so heavy were able to. It was like your walls. Like you have walls that you put up. Yeah, I'm gonna use the word wall, like barriers, right? Well, no, I'm gonna use the word walls, right? So you have walls that you've put in up, and they're supposed to protect you against external forces or whatever. But if who is supposed to be on guard isn't on their post, it leaves that wall unguarded. And I feel like that's essentially what happened because I wasn't staying, as nourished as I needed to be. I wasn't resting the way that I needed to be. I wasn't like, trusting the way that I needed to be. A lot of pieces that shouldn't have tripped me up did. And because I was in a place of like going through the motions, a lot of things just started to like waver. And they shouldn't have. That's the crazy part. Like they shouldn't even have wavered. But I feel like because it was like, okay, I had this happening and this happening and this happening and that happening and that happening. I was looking at God like, yo, why does it feel like we're in a baseball game and Jess is like the targets here? And it was just a lot of stuff. So January was a lot. January ended up being a lot more of just stuff. Um, was there warfare in the midst of that? There was, but that warfare was because of me allowing myself to get off guard. And when I say off guard, I mean like whatever started to like seep in, it started to seep. And I was looking like, this is not the journey, Jess. This is not the journey. Right? Because then your thoughts start to wander. And it was just a bunch of stuff. And I was looking at God like, I don't get it. And there was a lot of repentance that I had to do because I knew that it wasn't supposed to look this way. And I had to repent for the unbelief because I'm like, I don't even know when it even honestly had an opportunity to seep in. But whatever was going on in the midst of just life events, I just had to go into that place of like, God, I repent for the unbelief. Like, I believe in your promises. I know that you're a promise keeping God. And I know that he's a promise keep. Like, that's why I was like, God, I know that you keep your promises. I'm a witness through and through. But because things had just gotten so extra, it just really did a lot. It was just a lot. It was just a whole lot. And the warfare just added on to the pieces. And there was warfare with my mind for some parts. And then there was the warfare that was caused from other people. It was a lot of stuff. And when I say people, I mean like People say stuff that's just not proper, y'all. And it causes unnecessary drama, essentially. But yeah, there was just a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff that was going on. And all I could do was just give it to God. That's why when February came and all that came in my door, like it was literally the 1st of February, I just looked at God and was like, God, you're almost thinking that maybe you're past like these situations. And that's what I was really believing, that, okay, we're past these situations. And what ended up happening was a whole dump truck came to my door with nonsense. Because I think I woke up to like, I don't know how many text messages. And I just remember feeling like, this ain't my life. Like, I just remember feeling like, there's no way that this is my life. Like, there's no way. Because in my head, I was just looking like, God, like, I'm here for you, God. I'm here to do this for you. And like I mentioned, I know that doing the will of God comes with persecution. And I know that the will of God comes with a lot of battles. And I'm aware. So it's not the awareness factor. I think it was just really like me just feeling hurt by who it's coming from, because sometimes you think certain things won't be said by people, and they are. And it hurts. It really does. And normally, these things would have just been like, God, I just give it to you and I keep pushing, because that's what I had been doing from before. But I don't know if it was just the amount of messages or the content in the messages. But whatever the case may be, it really just had me looking at God like, I give it to you, God. I'm not trying to be upset. And I didn't want to be angry, and I didn't want to be hurt. And I didn't want to have any of those things. I didn't want any of the word curses to stick to me or nothing. Like I didn't want none of that stuff to stick to me. I just wanted to walk freely in the new season that God was giving me. Like, that was my desire, to walk and not have to worry about like all the other external factors. So even like, for example, not having the job and pieces of that nature, not being able to talk to my kids, like that, that was a lot. And these aren't things that are new. Like, I've had times where their dad has blocked me before from talking to my kids. But either this time was just longer, or this time just hurt more. Because this time we was pushing. I think this time I hadn't talked to them for what? 1 month, a month and a half. I was able to talk to my daughter a couple of days ago because she was home from school not feeling well. So I spoke to her briefly. But before that day, I hadn't talked to my kids, yeah, in like a month and a half, almost 2 months, almost 2 months. Because their dad literally has blocked me and won't let me talk to them at all. And it is frustrating. And I don't try to like cause issues or cause like rifts and rafts. I don't want to be that person, right? Who is on social media and they're blasting their child's father. Like, I don't want to, like, if you really knew, in my head, I'm like, God, we have text messages for days, like for days, right? I have plenty of text messages. Plenty of text messages. Um, but I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person who goes viral because they did a whole post on Twitter or X and blabbed off on all this. Like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person who is carrying bitterness and anger and hurt and stuff. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person who the only way that they can go through the day is by feeding off the energy of nonsense and foolishness. I don't want to be that person. I've seen what bitterness does to people. I've seen what bitter baby dads do. I'm good. I've seen what bitter baby moms do. I'm good. I've seen what bitter grandparents do. I'm good. I don't want no parts of anyone's bitterness. I don't want any parts of anyone's anger. I don't want any parts. So I guess in my head it's like, I don't know. The what comes to my mind is like, so forgive me if I'm not always on, right? Making a video and things of that nature. Because there's a lot of elements taking place. That's what I would like to say. But then the other part of me is like, there's someone else who might. I'm looking for oil. Like, I'm looking to figure out where I just put it. Maybe I put my oil back. I probably did put the oil back. I need some more oil. Anyways, there may be someone else who's going through something similar. There may be someone else who is dealing with the courts, right? And you're trying to get things in order and pieces and whatnot, and it just feels like a battle that just doesn't make sense. Maybe. I'm not sure. Or maybe you made that fresh move with God, right? And you're trusting in Him to get you through to the other side of whatever this month looks like. And you're believing that because God brought you, He's going to provide because He's a promise keeping God. And I'm going to say, keep that faith, because He had me start back in Hebrews again recently. And the book of Hebrews has so much to do with faith and promises in God's word and His word not being a lie. There's so much in there, and about the posture of waiting, right? Excuse me. And so much. And I have went back into Hebrews because I felt led to just go back into it. And I just been like, God, you know what? I'm gonna wait. We're gonna renew our strength right where we are. And as we wait, we're gonna continue to do what you told me to do. Right? Which is one, showing up here with you all, right? And then two, continuously doing the other pieces that I have on the background. One thing that was coming to my mind a few days ago, I was debating on something that I had to work on, and I was gonna just be like, you know what, bump it. And then I was like, no, Jessica, no, because God didn't say stop. And in my head, I was like, you're right. If God had said stop, then I would have stopped, right? But I'm like, I didn't hear God say stop. So why would I stop a project that He didn't tell me to stop on? I said, I'm going to keep going. I said, you got blog posts, you got podcasts, you got videos, right? Blogs. I said, okay. I said, keep going. Keep creating. Keep creating and keep using your talents in the ways in which God has called you to. Now, I'm not saying that Jessica's going to go back burning the oil on the midnight hour the way she did before. No, we not doing that. No. But there are some pieces that I have that I can flex just because I've done it enough times to know how to flex out myself, that I'm like, oh yeah, duh, God, we could do that. And I'm saying that part because I needed the reminder that God knows the very situation that I'm in, just like He knows the situation that you may be in. And He knows exactly what we stand in need of. And He always goes ahead of us. According to Deuteronomy 31, I believe it's in verse 6. There's a few verses that are like that, right? That tells us be strong and be courageous, for the Lord thy God goes ahead of us. If it's not verse 6, I know it's in that chapter. But it's that solid reminder. He goes ahead of us, meaning that regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what's taking place, God already made a way, period. And we're literally just watching it come forth. But it's already been established. And that was one of the pieces that I was thinking about earlier when I was jotting down my notes in Hebrews. Like, you already knew the promise that you made. You already knew these things because you said in your word that you had already ordained these pieces, right? From the beginning of time. So if you did this from the beginning of time, that means me coming here right now into position 2024, right? Like in this spot, you already knew. None of this is new. So in my mind, it was like, okay, well, perfect, God, because if none of this is new, then there's already a way made. Boom. And that's what it was. So I was like, okay, God, well, the raise the whatever it is that I'm looking for or needing, you already have it planned out and carved out. Now, however the access piece goes, we gonna continue to discuss that part, right? But I can trust in knowing that He already has provision made. I can trust in knowing that the Lord has already carved out pieces in the midst of it, and not to get discouraged, but to keep pushing forward, right? And not go backwards, not get stuck in old mindsets. And trust me, earlier this week, I called the court and I got some news that wasn't pleasing, and I got really, really annoyed. I didn't do anything, but I got really annoyed by some of the news that I received. And I just was like, I give it to you guys. Because I didn't want to fall back into old habits. So wherever you are on your journey today, don't fall back into old habits. Don't let any situation, because remember, our emotions are not facts, right? Emotions are dictated by the current situation or circumstances. And we already know our current situation or circumstances are not facts. No, they're only temporary. So don't allow a temporary situation cause you to make a decision that could have some permanent damage. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Don't allow a temporary situation cause you to make some permanent damage. We're not going backwards. I'm not. Can't speak to you, but can't speak for you, but I'm not going backwards. I'm not. I refuse. Absolutely not. However this goes down, however this looks, I am putting my complete trust in God and believing that He has a way made. Whatever that looks like, there has to be a way made, because there's no way that I can believe that the God that I serve that allowed me to get here wouldn't allow a provision and wouldn't bring forth His purpose into my life if He didn't already have a way made for me. period. I have to believe in it. So that being said, this video is 30 minutes in. I hope you all have an amazing day. And for those who are curious, these are how my patties look. Whoop, whoop. So the patties are done. I'll show you the patties since we're getting ready to wrap up. So these are the patties. So this is literally how they look. So pretty, right? I'm going to show you here. Can you see it? You can see it. I'm going to crush it open. You can get like an idea of what they look like. So this one, I definitely need to still put them in the fry pan longer because they're too soft on this side. So they should be crunchier. So they're not. So these need to actually go back in the hot pan. But essentially, that's what it will look like. So again, these are not fully ready, but I mean, you could eat them. They're just not ready on the sides. I need the sides to get crunchier. That's all. But peace and